I'm going to redo the example I did earlier, Introduction to Storyboards, where there are two views. Click on a button. It goes like this. Go to scene 2, a button, click on it. It passes on a value. It changes the label on the second screen, saying I'm from screen 1, message from screen 1. So it changes the value in the second view. Go back to scene 1 and goes back there. Earlier what I had done was I was just pushing from one view to another and back on. So if the user does go back and forth many times, the application would eventually crash. So what actually needs to be done over here is from on scene, go to scene 2. The scene 2 needs to unwind the segue as opposed to push it back onto the screen, scene 1. And I'll add another extra bonus on how to pass values between them. So I start with main storyboard, single view application. I will drag another view, second view on top. So now there are two views. Put a label on view 1, put a button on view 1, and change the labels as they are as you see. View 2, put a label, put a button, and change the labels as you see. Now I'm going to zoom in, close. Step 1 is to control click, drag, and select push. They'll make this segue between the two. There's already view 1 connected to scene 1. The trick is I add a method, this method, return, just like so, and I put a log message in it, return from scene 1. That's the message the scene 2 will call coming back. Then I add another class that inherits from view controller, just like so. Right click, new file, Cocoa Touch, Objective-C class. Next, I made one called ViewController2, subclass of UI view controller, and that's how I got this class. In this class, view did load, I add a log message in scene 2, and I also have I'm going to add a property string label text. Also I created an outlet for the label that's added in there. This label, an outlet for it. In view did load, that's what I'm printing out the value of it, changing its text to underscore label text. Back in view controller, I implement this method. Prepare for segue. In it, I have a log message. Actually, before I do this, go back to view controller .h file. Excuse me. Import view controller to 2.h. Also create an outlet for the label on the first scene. Now we are ready to go to viewcontroller.m. So I'm creating an instance, viewcontroller to destination is equal to segue destination view controller. So I'm getting a reference to whatever the destination view controller is that I am going to dynamically. So that's the line. It goes like this. I can put it up there. And on destination, there's a label text outlet. A label text property, string property. I'm going to set a value for it. And this does not work. You can't change the value of a label, so you gotta change the value of a property. Back into view controller 2.m. in view did load, I'm gonna change the labels text to the string. Directly changing the label does not work, so it has to be scene1 changes the string property, then the view did load assigns the labels text to the string property. One more thing, to unwind, now everything is prepped. To unwind, I simply click here, so you can see green box, and there's my target. Control, click, drag, let go. Now you will see a pop-up. Action segue returned. It can go back and see the return method now that I did implement the return method. Otherwise, nothing will pop up. And you click here on returned, and it'll call view controller M, the return method. So that's how it'll unwind, and you won't have a problem with application running out of memory. So that's the proper way to go from one view to another and then unwind back to the actually going from one scene to the other and then passing in a value in the process and then unwinding it back to from scene 2 to scene 1. Go to scene 2. You see how it goes, preparing to go to scene 2, in scene 2, and then from scene 1 the label text, go back to scene 1. See, return from scene 1. That's the return method being called. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Bye.